Hi everyone, welcome to Maximum Attack Rallying and to your Monday dose of rallying gibberish. Just before I get into things, I want to say a quick thank you to Rally Mad Phil. He commented on a video I posted the other day sending his best wishes. In case you don't know, I live in Saudi Arabia and obviously things are somewhat kicking off in this part of the world right now. So very grateful for Phil for sending his best wishes. Thankfully, I am on the west coast in Jeddah, so we're about 1,000 miles away from the UAE. So yeah, we're very lucky in that respect. Obviously, for those people in Dubai, Bahrain, Qatar, and of course in Iran itself, Israel, Lebanon, lots going on. So yeah, it's just horrible, isn't it? And as I said, we are very, very lucky to be in this part of the kingdom. So we are out of harm's way, and I mean, what can you say? This isn't a news channel, but hopefully things will calm down and maybe one day the human race will stop trying to endlessly kill itself. Who knows? Anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about rallying, because that's why you're here. And last week we had some exciting things, didn't we? So just after I recorded my Thursday video, I, like all of you, got a look at Toyota's 2027 car as we saw some pictures and video of that car being tested in Portugal. Toyota have confirmed that it is their car. They've even confirmed, I think, that they've done a couple of thousand miles of testing with it. One thing is for sure is that Marcio Pereira, I think it was, who posted the picture or took the pictures, is a very popular man in rally world because he managed to snap that car while it was running last week. So we got to see it. Obviously, there's lots and lots of speculation because the big thing, if you haven't seen the pictures, which you must have done because you've seen the thumbnail of this video, I guess, the new 2027 Toyota is not using a Toyota GR Yaris derived body shell or pieces of carbon fibre that look like a GR Yaris. At least they have decided to go in a different direction. Potentially, at least. I think the big thing with this video is that we don't actually know. You know, there's been loads and loads of speculation. You know, is this based on the new Celica, the new MR2, a new GR86? It could be any of those. Toyota have obviously been talking about building new sports cars for the road. So if they're doing that, the 2027 Rally 1 car is an opportunity to market that. It could also be nothing at all. You know, I think the important thing to remember with these regulations is that they allow teams to build a car that isn't actually based on any road car. It's based on a spec space frame chassis, and they can put whatever body they like on it. It can be have the appearance of a road car. It could be something completely different of their own design, and it could be that. So I think we do have to keep that in mind. It's also worth noting that this might be a prototype. You know, they might have done something that is not very representative of what the 2027 car is going to look like, because they might just be trying to test the chassis and the running gear and the suspension and all of that stuff. That said, I don't think they would have strayed away from the Yaris if they were going to stick with it. You know, I think if the 27 car was going to still be based on the GR Yaris styling, I think they would have kept that. You know, I think the fact that they've shifted away from that shows that they are looking at going in a different direction, even if we don't know exactly what that is right now. I think one thing is for sure is that it's got people talking, hasn't it? You know, those pictures and the video clips that we've seen have been doing the rounds. You know, they've made it into the more mainstream motoring media, and obviously got those guys questioning whether this is a sneak peek at what a new Celica might look like. I think the sad thing is that a lot of them have said, oh, is the new Toyota rally car based on the new Celica? And it shows that, you know, people really don't understand the regulations, don't they? And they think that the cars are still based on some kind of road car, where in fact, as you and I well know, they are based on a space frame chassis. So that's perhaps a bit sad, but, you know, there we are. Anyway, enough of the speculation side. Let's talk about what we saw. Unfortunately, of course, we don't know too much right now. Things are very up in the air, and obviously this is an early the prototype, as I said, maybe the 2027 car will end up looking very different. What we do know is that it is based, of course, on the new space frame chassis, which comes along next year and is effectively an evolution of the outgoing space frame that we've been using for the last few years. There are some changes though, as you would have heard from the videos. This car has a 3-cylinder engine because from 2027 the Rally 1 cars will use an R2. I'm 10 years out of date, 15 years out of date, a Rally 2 type engine, so it will share its engine with the GR Yaris Rally 2, even though it may receive some modifications, we do not know, and the same is true of the suspension and things, so under the skin the car will be very different as well. There are a couple of other little details. The test car had a very unusual looking rear wing on it, looked rather spindly. Obviously, again, we're moving towards a Rally 2 inspired aerodynamic approach for next season, which means smaller wings, which explains the very upright and very small rear wing we saw on the car. I think the only other thing we can really talk about is how it looks. Obviously, it was in the standard Toyota test livery. I've seen lots of people trying to remove that livery and see what it would look like without it. That is one of the things with AI. There have been lots of images floating around of the car inside a workshop. I assume that they're AI. That is one of the lovely things about the world right now, is you can't tell what's real and what's not because AI models are taking over. I'm not going to get into that in this video. We've done politics, so let's avoid AI as well. I have to say, you know, based on those images that I've seen and stills taken from the videos and obviously the handful of images we got, do I like what the car looks like? I don't know. I think it looks a bit weird. I saw a capture from the video that from side on. It looks very tall somehow. The body, the glass house, I suppose you'd call it, wouldn't you, in automotive terms. The side windows, they look very tall. The proportions of it do look rather odd. I'm not sure what to make of that. Is that a reflection of what the road car would look like that they're potentially basing it on? Is that a reflection of it just being a random generic shape that they've come up with based on the regulations? You know, it's very hard to tell, isn't it? But for me, I have to say, based on the images so far, it is not the best looking car. As you talked about the rear wing, which looks a bit weird. So I don't know. It's early days, isn't it? We're going to have to wait and see what the actual car looks like. I'm sure we will see more of it as the year progresses, but it's a bit weird, isn't it? It looks a bit weird. I think that's all I'm going to say. We will see. We will see. But while we're on the subject of 2027, there is something else that I just want to touch on because I saw this on Rally Journal. You may not have seen it. So Rich Milner from M Sport, he has told a German motorsport magazine that his team will indeed have to start the 2027 season with the Fiesta Rally 2. Obviously, he's bigging that up and saying it's a competitive car, and you have to say that M Sport have made some significant steps forward with that car. I think, as he said, it was the only non-Toyota to set a faster stage time in WRC 2 in Sweden, and John Armstrong won the last 2 rounds of the ERC last year in the Fiesta. So that car has clearly made a step. Whether it continues to be competitive into 2027 remains to be seen, because that's almost a year away. I thought the other thing, though, that I wanted to touch on is that he did say that M Sport are hoping to build a car to the new 2027 regulations, but it will not be until 2028 at the earliest. And I think that is very important, and what makes that especially significant is that he said that it is dependent on what happens with the promoter. I talked about this in the last video. I've talked about it in videos recently as well. It just shows, doesn't it, that manufacturers are not signing up to the new regulations, and I think a significant part of this is because we do not know the direction of the championship. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who the promoter's going to be. We don't know what their vision is for the sport. We don't know what their practical steps and plans are. And if you're a manufacturer looking to invest millions upon millions of euros in a motorsport program, you are not going to do that if you don't know what the future of that motorsport program looks like. So we have to say that, as always, until we've got a promoter, we are very much on the edge. And I think that is a major issue as far as these new regulations are concerned, because you know, we're not going to see manufacturers coming along until they know what the future looks like. So it's very tricky, isn't it? And I think it makes the regulations look even worse in a way, because no one's signing up, because no one knows what the plan is. So I thought it was worth mentioning that. It is definitely going to be interesting to see what happens with M Sport. Firstly, as I said, in terms of how competitive the Fiesta is next year, which is obviously a very old car, and I think that will be its final year of homologation. But also to see what happens. You know, will they continue with Ford? Will Ford sign up for 2028 with a 2027 regulation car, if that makes sense? You know, will they commit once we know who the promoter is? Will M Sport have to find someone else? There has obviously, of course, been talk of them doing some kind of deal with Chinese manufacturer Lynk & Co, which I think is part of the wider Geely group. So we'll have to see, won't we? I'm going to leave it there, though, because I've been waffling on for too long. Thank you, as always, for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Toyota. Do you think it's sleeker? Do you think it's an MR2? Do you think it's a completely random shape just because? Do you think it looks good? Do you think it looks bad? Let me know. Otherwise, make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. And I will leave this one there and say, see you in the next one.